He's speaking. The young Ralph Yarl, the young man who was shot for simply going to the wrong home, being a good young man, has spoken. Here it is.
When you go back to April 13th, tell me what happened when you go to that address.
Well, I go into the driveway. I walk up the steps. I ring the doorbell. I see 3 different cameras, like one looking at the driveway, one on the porch. As far as I know, I didn't know their family at all. Like, I had never even seen their friends or their parents before, so maybe this is their house. I hear the door open. I see this old man, and I'm assuming, oh, this must be like their grandpa. And then he pulls out his gun, and I'm like, whoa. So I like back up. He points it at me. So I kind of like brace and I turn my head. Before that, I'm thinking, there's no way he's actually gonna shoot, right? The door is even open. He's gonna shoot through his glass door and glass is gonna get everywhere. Then it happened. And then I'm on the ground. I fall on the glass, the shattered glass. And then before I know it, I'm running away, shouting, help me, help me.
Were there any words that were exchanged before he shot you?
He only said 5 words. Don't come here ever again.
Wow. The young man posed no threat, immediately backed away, saw the weapon, turned his head to get away even more. And then he shot. Whole life changed. Let's put up the picture of the man who did this to him. I will say, and I concur with his attorney, Lee Merritt, the recovery has been miraculous for this young man. The Kansas City teenager who was shot after he went to the wrong house to pick up his siblings has now spoken publicly about the ordeal, sitting down with Good Morning America. Yarl was shot in the head and in the right arm and suffered a traumatic brain injury. Andrew Lester, 84, was charged with 1 count of felony assault in the first degree and 1 count of felony armed criminal action. He should have been charged with attempted murder. He pleaded not guilty on April 18th, was released on a $200,000 bond. When reached for comment, Lester's attorney said the court prohibits Lester from discussing the case, but is looking forward to the upcoming preliminary hearing. Once again, put up the picture to remind you of what a monster looks like. Now, his family members went on national television to let you know how racist he is. One family member said he really was not surprised that this happened. 10 weeks after the shooting, Yarl has made a full physical recovery, but still has mental and emotional trauma. Here it is.
There are a lot of things that are going on inside my head aren't normal. I've been having headaches, trouble with sleep, and sometimes my mind is just foggy. Like, I can't concentrate on the things that would be easy for me to do.
You're looking at a kid that took the SAT when he was in the 8th grade. And now his brain is slowed. So physically he looks fine, but there's a lot that has been taken from him.
What do you want people to know about you, Ralph?
I'm just a kid. I'm not larger than life because this happens to me. I'm just gonna keep doing all the stuff that makes me happy and just living my life the best I can.
The family's lawyer is calling for this to be investigated as a hate crime. Should have been investigated as a hate crime from day one. And the young Mr. Yarl is such a remarkable young man. He said he doesn't hold any ill feelings against the man who shot him, but he simply wants him to be held accountable for his actions. He's brilliant, he's compassionate, he's responsible, and he has been forced to become a man. Doc, tell us about traumatic brain injuries and what is the experience, to the best of your academic and scholarly understanding, what is the experience he's likely going to face moving forward?
Well, the fact that he's still alive is absolutely a miracle. The fact that he was shot not once but twice. I think the shooter came out afterwards and shot him when he was on the ground, also shot at him. So thankfully, it didn't obviously take a direct hit. He's gonna suffer from these symptoms quite significantly, and it's going to be a very slow road back. And for someone who's had a history of very high functioning cognitively, it's going to be very frustrating, because just learning how to think again after you've had damage like this is a very slow road. Now, he's incredible. But I do think there's something else about this case. You mentioned the word racism, and I think there are two levels of racism that are at play. Certainly, there's the implicit bias of someone who answers the door and sees someone and judges them immediately based on their skin color and then acts accordingly. So certainly there is individual level hate if this becomes a hate crime prosecution. But the other level of racism is the law, right? The law that is called a defensive use gun law. We used to have, even in Missouri, I'm from Missouri, it used to be if you're armed, you had a duty to stand down, that shooting someone was just a last resort. Your duty was to de-escalate first. And what they've done with these stand your ground laws based on something called the Castle Doctrine is to say, you can step forward, you can fire your gun, even when you feel threatened, And so this feeling of feeling threatened justifies people firing their gun when they feel threatened. And so the law itself encourages the kind of outcomes that we're seeing in these shootings. And so this trial is going to be really interesting, because I really do feel like the law itself needs to be on trial, and it ultimately needs to be overturned.
I completely agree with your sentiment. And what states have done, they have taken what should be a very objective standard, and they have made it a subjective standard to how you feel. You see, it doesn't work in any other context, doctor. You can't say, well, I felt like I was going under the speed limit. I felt as if I did not have too many drinks tonight. It doesn't work, but it works when you kill somebody. Makes no sense.